What's quacking, everybody? What's quacking? Do you ever have one of those days in life where you expect it to go perfectly because you have everything all planned out, well thought through? You have an exact idea of exactly what you're going to accomplish that day and when, but somehow the stars just aren't shining in your favor and it all falls apart. And no matter how hard you try to push through, things just keep crumbling before your very eyes. Well, this is one of those, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, let's just take a quick look around where we're at. So we are at Yankton Trail Park here in Sioux Falls. This is one of my favorite places to come. It's pretty much a beautiful day. The sun is shining. The clouds are clouding. It is a little bit cool. It's about 50 degrees today, and it's quite a bit windy. I've got my windscreen on, so I hope that does the job. But we're getting some gusts at probably, I would say, about 20 miles an hour today. So that might be pushing the limits of the windscreen, and the wind might still come through. It's definitely pushing the camera around a little bit, so that's going to mess the stability of my shots up a little bit. But we're just going to get through this and do what we can because nothing else today's gone to plan. So why should this be any different? Had to switch to hood up mode. The wind in Sioux Falls is no joke. When it blows, and when it's 50 degrees, the wind is a little bit colder than that, and I have no shield. As you can see, I'm wide out in the open. I'll tell you a little bit about this park though. What most people know about this park is soccer. And if you are not a fan of soccer, you really don't think about this park as a place to go. And I see why that's what it's known for. There's 21 soccer fields here, which makes it an ideal place to host tournaments. And they do have large soccer tournaments here on a regular basis. If you can imagine, you play 21 games at once, you blow through a tournament in no time. But there is a lot more to this park than just soccer. They used to have an annual jazz festival here. It took place every summer. A few years ago, they moved that to the fairgrounds. I'm not sure the reasons why. It doesn't take place until August, but if I can keep it on my radar that long, we're going to go check it out because I like jazz music and it would be something cool to see. But that used to take place here. But the real thing that attracts me to this park is, one, the river is right behind me in the trees. The river is right here, and I love to spend time on the trails along the river, but also the history. You've probably picked up right now that I really love history, especially exploring obscure local history that most people don't know about. And there's a little taste of that here in this park, and I'll share it with you while we're here, just to kind of distract myself from the other events of the day, because for the most part, this is going to be a video about no video. Kind of reminds me of Seinfeld. Just thought I'd give you a little shot of the river and the sound of birds since we were right here by it. This is the Big Sioux River, and the trails along the edge of this river is what originally led me to come to this park over and over. But right over here is the part that I find most fascinating about Yankton Trail Park, and it's really where the park even gets its name. Most people will look at this and they will see a bike trail, a place to ride bicycles, a place to rollerblade, a place to walk, to skateboard, to walk your dog, to do whatever. That's all they see and that's all they think about. But there's actually a lot more to it than that. During the 1870s, the city of Sioux Falls, for the most part, it didn't really exist. In those days, you had Fort Dakota, which was a small military outpost in the process of closing down. And you had some shops and stores that provided goods and services to the soldiers of that fort. And there was a sprinkling of homesteads around. But for the most part, there was really nothing here. I would call it an encampment more than I would refer to it as a town. So at this particular point in time, the Dakotas were mostly unsettled. They had not yet been divided up into North and South Dakota. They just existed as one expansion referred to as the Dakota Territory. And the capital of the Dakota Territory was a town south of here called Yankton. That town still exists today. Maybe one day we'll go check it out because I've never been and I'm kind of curious about it. And this walking path, bike path, whatever you want to think of it as, is the actual spot of the Old Yankton Trail, which connected the territorial capital of Yankton to the new settlement of Sioux Falls, which was just getting started and just getting on its feet. This trail was forged by the military in the 1850s as a way of supplying Fort Dakota, which I just mentioned. And throughout the 1870s and 1880s, it became the primary means of transportation for supplies coming into the area, settlers coming into the area, mail going in and out. The railroads didn't come around until the 1880s. So for about 20 years straight, this trail was the only thoroughfare that brought goods and people in and out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So if you can imagine it, instead of a nice, smooth, paved path, this was a very muddy trail, deep wagon routes to go through, very bumpy, uncomfortable ride. One passenger who took the stagecoach from Yankton to Sioux Falls likened it to surviving the Spanish Inquisition. Today we can get to Yankton within just a couple of hours drive. Back then it was a stagecoach ride that took anywhere from 12 to 15 hours, depending on how many stops you had to make along the way. And I've never read one account of a single person who said that that was a comfortable ride. And I have seen endless accounts of people who said that it was the worst experience of their life. In 1862, the settlers were evacuated by military escort from the town of Sioux Falls and returned to the territorial capital of Yankton. A war was breaking out with the local Sioux indigenous population, who just decided that settlers were no longer welcomed on their land, and they were willing to do whatever was necessary to remove them. And for the safety of the citizens, the military returned them to Yankton. And it was probably a good decision, because when they returned with the cavalry the following year, they found that literally everything had been burned to the ground and nothing but ash remained. Poof, side quest. Just wanted to divert your attention for just a moment and show you this soccer ball sculpture. When I tell you that Yankton Trail Park is known for soccer and commonly associated with soccer, that is no joke, no understatement. That's just what people know about this park. They really don't understand how deep the history goes. But here you go. The proof is in the pudding, right? Guys, check it out. Next to the soccer ball sculpture, someone has left, they've left a big ass tent. I assume there must have just been a tournament going on or something, and this just hasn't been taken out yet, but let's check it out. Let's check it out. They've left us a fire extinguisher and a no smoking sign. But more importantly, it is shielding us from the wind, because I'm not going to lie, the wind is getting cold out there, and we've got nice windows to look out as we watch people walk up and down the trail. Guys, we could camp here tonight. I could go get a sleeping bag, maybe a folding chair, bring a little hibachi grill or something. We could camp here. Maybe the video of not having a video is going to turn into a illegal camping in Yankton Trail Park video. I don't know. But for now, let's continue on. I got more to tell you about this place. The settlers returned, and then throughout the time, there was always stories of stagecoach robberies, being that until the railroads came in the 1880s, the stage on this trail was the only way to get in and out of town, right? So people were always worried about stagecoach robberies, but I think that those are more myths than anything. But there is one account that is really, really interesting, and I want to share that one with you as well. So this trail also has a Jesse James connection. I told you that the trail was used to evacuate the settlers in 1862. They returned the following year in 1863, and 100% of those people came through this trail. 14 years later, in September of 1876, the James Younger Gang had a failed bank robbery attempt in the town of Northfield, Minnesota, about 200 miles from here. As they escaped the town narrowly with their lives, the largest manhunt in U.S. history at the time took place. More than 1,000 people joined the posse to pursue them. Shortly after that bank robbery, the stagecoach leaving Sioux Falls to head back to Yankton spotted the gang outside of the town. The stagecoach driver turned the stage around, warned the citizens of the town, and panic ensued. They had just been evacuated due to threat of indigenous war 14 years previous, and they had already got word of the bank robbery, and so then having further word that the gang was in town, or at least outside of town, really terrified the citizens of the community. So that's about all I know of the history of this trail, but it really is what I think about when I come to this park, and it's one of the things that makes it special, because I feel like anytime we touch ground and interact with one of these historic places, especially when we're consciously aware of what took place in the past in that location, it kind of connects us to that history, and that's what I thrive on, is that connection with history. I really love it. I do know, and I've never been to see it, but I do know that at the local university campus, there is sort of a memorialized and preserved section of the trail with deep wagon ruts, and there is some type of plaque there to memorialize it. That was done by the sophomore class at the university in 1926. So it's 100 years old. That in itself is a piece of history, and it's worth visiting one day, but not today. This bench must have been meant for me. Your boy Quackers got my initial right there on it. You better believe if I see a bench, I'm going to sit on it and finish this coffee. Speaking of which, if you're feeling generous and have the means, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description or the pinned comment. You can buy this duck of coffee. If you do, thank you. If you don't, thank you for watching. I love you either way. Anyway, as for what I was talking about with the failed video from today, it's so discouraging because it's not just a failed video from today. If you think back to last week's video where I showed my garden at Leaders Park, towards the end of that video, I even went back and mentioned then that I had another video in mind. But the thing was that the garden is going to be a big part of my summer, right? And so I already know I'm going to want to show an update of it once in a while. And in order to fully appreciate that, I wanted to show it the way it looked fresh from the start before anything was even planted. And I had a limited time window for that because it's time to plant. And so I pretty much had to do that video last week. And so the video I had in mind, I was going to do this week. And that is the video of the Pettigrew home. Richard Pettigrew, the first senator of the state of South Dakota. And I want to see his home. It's been preserved for over a century. It looks just the way it did when he lived there. And it's like stepping back into history. And it's one thing to know about history and to talk about it. It's something else to see it and visualize it firsthand. And I wanted to share that experience with you guys. So that was the plan for this week. Oh no. Oh no. I set my coffee down for 1 second to make an adjustment. And look what happened. The wind here is truly relentless. It's truly relentless. I'm so sad. This really is a day where just nothing goes right. So anyway, I had the idea that I was going to film this video at the Pettigrew home and show that because it relates to things I've already talked about on the channel, and it kind of also leads into other things to talk about into the future. So I felt it was important to do that video next. And I went there yesterday with the intention to do that video. I filmed an intro, I walked the neighborhood, I got some shots of historic homes. Everything was going good. It was a beautiful day. It was a little warmer than it is today. Everything was going good until right when I got to the Pettigrew home. So when I get there, as I approach, I'm not close enough to interact with this person, but I am close enough to see them kind of off in the distance. But I see a lady, obviously a worker, come outside, and there is a sign hanging up outside that says open. And she takes this sign and goes inside with it, then comes outside and locks the doors and leaves with a man who I'm presuming is either her husband or her boyfriend. And I'm thinking, wow, sure, you guys are open 7 days a week. I'll give you that. But you're only open from 12 to 5. So surely you're not leaving for a lunch break during that time. But I wasn't sure what was going on, so I tried to call. I need to cross the street here, so I'm going to click and pay attention to my street crossing. So I decided to call and find out what was going on, because it was 1 o'clock. They had only been open for an hour, but I didn't know maybe she was going for lunch. So I looked up the phone number and I gave them a jingle, and the phone rang over to the old courthouse museum. And so I talked to a very nice lady there who told me that that there was some type of a mechanical or maintenance issue at the house, that they had to close for the day, and that they were hoping to be reopened the next day, which is now today. And so I was kind of discouraged, right? I was all set to make this video. I had already started making the video. So after getting over the initial shock and disappointment, I decided it really wasn't so bad. I've already done the intro. I've got some shots of the neighborhood to include as B-roll, and it wasn't that bad. And I thought, in fact, I can make the best of this, because Mr. Pettigrew has a very large statue here in town devoted to him. In fact, there is an entire memorial complex built around this statue. And I wanted to get some shots of that to include towards the end of the video, but it was going to be really inconvenient and complicated in order to get them. So I thought, okay, I've got my intro, I've got some neighborhood shots. I'll go down and get the shots of the statue, and then I'll come back tomorrow when they're open to do the inside of the house. So that was the plan. And I went down to where the statue is at, and this happened. Guys, this is no bueno. No bueno. The entire sidewalk down to the statue and the entire area around the statue complex is fenced off. No entry. Some type of construction going on, renovating the building down there. I don't know what's happening, but I can't get to the statue. That's right. The entire memorial complex and everything for more than a block around it on that entire side of the street was cordoned off with this chain link construction fence. There's some type of a massive renovation going on, and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful when it's done. I can't wait to see it. But it's not going to be done anytime soon, because this is clearly a massive project. It's going to take some time. And so the shot of the statue is completely out of the picture to begin with. Let's take one more quick look at the river while it's here to look at, being that it's one of my favorite things about this location. It's beautiful. Usually there's ducks and geese swimming around. I've only seen one duck so far, and I wasn't good enough to get him on film, and I saw a rabbit a moment ago, but the camera was on me. So anyway, I was still trying to make the best of the situation. So I waited until 12 noon today when they were supposed to open, and I tried to call again. And again, I rang through to the old courthouse museum. And I spoke to a very nice gentleman there who told me that the maintenance issues are ongoing and they hope to be reopened tomorrow, which is what they told me yesterday. And I don't have high hopes that it's going to actually be done tomorrow. But even if it is, I like to have a consistent schedule of my videos launching Wednesdays at 1. And there is no way possible for me to go to a place on Wednesday tomorrow, to go to a place that opens at noon, film it, go back, edit this video, render the video, upload the video. It's just not possible to do all of that in an hour. The tour alone is a half hour. So the Pettigrew House video, I'm sad to say, just is not going to happen this week. This is 2 weeks in a row. I really wanted to make this video. Maybe third time is a charm. So if you are interested in seeing a Queen Anne style mansion from 1879, check back with me next Wednesday at 1, and surely it will hopefully be there. So that's about it for this week. At least we did get to discuss a little bit of history, which is what I enjoy the most. We got to get outside, get some fresh air, see some beautiful clouds, look at endless soccer fields. And I got to explain why for 2 weeks in a row I've been unable to show you the Pettigrew House, which I keep promising. So Fingers crossed, keep them crossed all the way till Wednesday at 1. Next week, we're going to look at the Pettigrew house, and then we're going to move on to something even more amazing from there. But the Pettigrew house is just really important to me to show. So I'm making that my priority. Next Wednesday at 1, we're going to do it. Until then, there is one more thing I want to show you here. It's just a little bit further down the trail. So let's do a speed walk down and get there quickly because it's cold outside. I really love this old bridge behind me. I came out here several times last summer to photograph this bridge from every conceivable angle. I really love that Sioux Falls has maintained all of its old historic bridges. Pretty much all of them are pedestrian walkways now. This one definitely is as well. So let's take the path around. There is a path ahead of me that winds around. Let's go up the path and see the view from the bridge. I've never really noticed anything that indicates what year it was built, so I'm going to be on the lookout for that. And if I see anything, I'll show it to you. I have no idea when it was constructed, how old it is, but it's definitely an old steel bridge, and I love walking across it. So let's go. Authorized vehicles only. I don't know if that includes me or not, but this one says weight limit 7 tons. I definitely weigh less than that, so I think I'm good to go. But come over here and take a look. The details are so incredible on this. Plus, there was a gentleman walking by with his dog, and I try to avoid getting people on camera as much as possible. Sometimes it just happens, but I do my best to avoid it. But here we go. Let's walk across. This guy, for example, I'm sorry, he's on camera. Okay, let's see what this says. If we can read this. This in no way indicates the age. It looks like it says 6-ton limit, which is interesting because the other sign said 7-ton limit. So I don't know. I wouldn't trust 1 ton on these boards. I barely trust my own body weight, but we're going for it so that we can get a look at the river on both sides. This side gives us a lovely shot of the interstate, but boy, the clouds look nice. This side is a little bit more of a scenic view. There's a small landing down there. I've seen people put kayaks in the river there and go kayaking. Much more natural looking on this side. This is the photogenic side. Even this dead tree looks beautiful. So, yeah, I see no indication of when this bridge was constructed. If you were from Sioux Falls and you know, please shout out and let me know because I'm curious to find out. I think I'm going to have to try to research it now. So, I guess that's about it for this week's video. The video about no video turned out to be a video after all. As confusing as that sounds, confusingly, it came out okay. So, I promise next week the Pettigrew house. Please hang in there with me. I'll see you next Wednesday at 1. Until then, I'm going to leave you with a nice time lapse of the clouds. We've got beautiful clouds today. Why not try to get a time lapse? Till next week, I love you guys. Quackers out.